something really interesting that's going to make you float and relax. And this is a very relaxing piece of work that we're going to be doing. And people that do this, actually, that build dioramas or railroad layouts, find it very soothing and calming to do this kind of work. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create just a small section of landscape, and this happens to be a fairway and a green on a golf course. So I've got a variety of things we're going to use to sort of set up the scene, and what would happen would be that whoever would use this might be able to integrate it into a model train layout and take this section here and then just sort of build everything around it in their model railroad layout. So what we're going to do is get started by showing you some of the ingredients that we have, and we have a variety of tools to work with. First and foremost, we have a hot glue gun, which you have to kind of assemble everything. We have a little forest of trees, and we're going to be using the trees individually and sort of putting them alongside of the fairway. And I've kind of got it started here. I've got the fairway, I've got the green. This little black dot is obviously the pin or the cup. I've got some, this is essentially just sandpaper, believe it or not. I just used 60 grit sandpaper as the basic substrate for this layout, and I left this part its natural color, the sandpaper color, and it also has the grittiness of the material as well. And that actually acts as sort of the ground cover, the brown mulched or natural ground cover that doesn't have grass on it. So we'll use that. I've also got some material here that we can use for a little bit of extraneous covering. So this would be like for sand or gravel, and we may want to put that along the road here to sort of take the edge off of this piece of asphalt here. Actually, this little road, and what we're going to do with this is kind of line up some cars along it, because when you have a golf game going on, especially a tournament, you have people that show up at the event and just, you know, randomly park along the road and get out of their cars. We've got plenty of people to use, and I've got a whole collection of, this is HO scale, so the scale refers to the relative size of the figures, and I'll hold these up. These are humans, and we're going to use those as our onlookers. And then of course I do have this box here, which is, these were fairly expensive. These were not cheap. This is actually our golfer, and he is holding a, well, looks to be about a 7 wood, I would say. I'm going to hold him up to the camera here and see if you can see him, but this is our golfer that we're going to use. Will be center stage, and we're going to put him back here, kind of shooting his last shot on a par 3 course. So we'll just set our golfer aside and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing, also, I just wanted to let you know that I've got plenty of foliage and bushes, and we can go all day long using this material, which essentially is just like a cellulose type material for bushes and ground cover. And I've got a bag of that, so we'll keep that sort of ready to go. And let's get started. So the first thing you want to do when you're doing a little layout like this is your tree line. So we'll get started here, and I'm sorry if the table's a little wobbly that I've got set up here in front of the camera. The first thing you want to do is fan out your foliage to make it look very natural. So we're just going to take this and we're going to feather out these branches a little bit and give the tree a very natural look. And You want to make it as organic looking as possible. And I think we've done that with this one. Now, the other thing you've got to do is when you're using sandpaper on top of foam here, which is what we have, I've just got it glued down. You want to use a punch, and this punch is going to be used for kind of creating a pilot hole for the trees. So I thought it'd be really cool to put a tree. Let's just start with that. We're going to use a little dab of hot glue there. Also, when you're using a hot glue gun, if you don't already know this, you want to be extremely careful, because when I tell you it's hot, the glue that comes out of these glue guns is unbelievably hot. So we've planted our first tree. I'm going to tilt this up to give you like an angle shot of what the tree looks like along the fairway there. So we've got that started. And let me just take care of this one particular branch here that's not, doesn't look really natural. Now that looks totally natural. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just keep going with the tree line. Let's pluck out a smaller one here. Let's go with this guy. And these appear just to be sort of deciduous trees, obviously, that are random trees. And let's get this one. Let's go to the other side. We're going to put this one just off of the rough there. And let's get that a little dab. And get that in there. So we've got a nice little start to our piece here. So we'll just keep going with the trees. Let's just kind of get them going here and get them lined up. This is going to be a nice, relaxing ASMR video. And it's probably going to run a little long, just to tell you guys. So I hope you have a few minutes just to kind of get a little bit more comfortable. You want to pause it and go get something to drink. Do that too, and we'll just keep on going with the tree line. Okay. So again, we're just sort of spreading these out and giving them a little bit more of an organic look. And oh, let me do a punch. And a little dab will do you on the glue gun. And then we'll just insert that right there. If I can find out where I did the punch. Yeah, there we go. Put that tree right there. This is starting to shape up already. We're just kind of getting started with it, but I can see that we're really getting it nicely populated with trees. And since trees kind of tend to grow close together, let's get this one a little tight up against this tree. And again, I'll do a little tilt for you and show you what we've got working with so far there, or what we're working with so far. So let me do this. Let's get all these trees out in position here, because we're just going to go ahead and get them all. Well, we'll get most of them. And what we can do to sort of somewhat speed up the process is go ahead and spread the branches on all these guys and make them look a little spread out, and again, more organic looking. So there we go. That one looks totally natural. I'm already starting to feel like I'm in the woods here. So let's kind of get these set up, and I'll blow off some of that debris there. Yeah, these are starting to look just great, totally natural. You could even imagine these trees have little birds' nests in them and hawks perching on top and all that sort of thing. So let's get, one thing about this fairway is I wouldn't want to be a golfer approaching this green with all these trees. We got a lot of foliage going on here, so I've kind of stopped hot gluing them, by the way. I'm just sort of, for the sake of moving right along here, I'm just kind of getting them situated. Now, is that starting to look like a totally amazing piece to add to a really cool model train layout, or what? I'd say it's pretty cool. All right, so we've established already. There we go. Get that cleaned out there. Just do a little mop up. We've established already our tree line. So there we go. Now, let me give you a little tilt up so you can see what we're dealing with there. Look at that. Totally awesome. Okay. So we'll put that back down. Now, I think the most important thing to do to kind of get a theme going here, let's go ahead and install our golfer. Okay. Our golfer, who is this guy again. Let me see if I can get that close to you guys so you can take a look. We're going to position him, and you want to make sure that you have him angled just right. So you want him facing the green. So I'm literally just going to take him and sort of tap him. And he's standing on one leg, so when you are applying the glue, and there he goes. So he is already taken a swing, and we have him positioned, I would say, probably about 30 yards out. So I'm guessing he'd probably be using maybe a 9-iron. You know, could be a pitching wedge, and he could just sort of whoosh, lob that shot right in there. Okay. Now, one thing that we can do to make it a little tougher for this golfer is to give him a couple sand traps. And let's do that. I've already got one cut out for you here, and I just used the sandpaper here, which gives this a very realistic looking appearance as sand, and we can punish this guy if we want to and put it right in front or angle it off to the side. I'd say to be more realistic, we want to probably anchor it to the side. Let's just go ahead and do that by getting a little dab of glue, and we're going to put that right there. So we've got that situated. Do we really want to be mean to this guy and make it tough? I'd say so. He looks like he's trying to make it big, and he's probably playing some tournaments, and he's up for the challenge. So let's add another sand trap in here. We're going to put that one right over here. So we're going to make his approach pretty merciless, and we're going to put that right there, right up on the green. So we've got 2 sand traps. He's got to go straight through to get that shot. I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. He's a pro golfer. Now look, when you're this guy and you're playing in a tournament, you draw a crowd. So what people do generally is they're going to park alongside the fairway, and there happens to be our little roadway right here. So let's start putting some cars in there. Let's give it some human presence. I've got an assortment of these HO scale cars, which are the same scale as the golfer. And let me just try to get a little close in there. Close-up shot so you can see what we're looking at. These are pretty highly detailed cars, I would think. And what we'll do is we're just going to sort of randomly park them along the path here. And we won't put them perfectly straight, because if we put them perfectly straight, it looks like people were not in a real hurry. So we want to give a sense of urgency, like people just piled into their cars and had to get to this tournament to see it because it was so freaking awesome. So they jockeyed for position, and they are parked one on top of the other. So we're going to stick that over here. I'm going to tilt this up a little bit because I know that it's probably difficult to see from the vantage where I have the camera here, but I'm just kind of getting these in play. This guy was probably a little intoxicated right here by the way he's parked, but that's all right. He's drinking beer, and it's a golf tournament. Okay, I've I've installed 5 automobiles, so let me tilt the whole apparatus up to you. And we've got, let me see if I can turn it around this way. There's our cars, golfer, and the tree lines. And let's just put that back here and keep working. All right, so I think what we need to do now is it looks a little sparse. And what we probably need is to get some foliage out there. So let's do that. Let's just drop a little on here. Now what I'm going to do is, for the sake of moving things along, I'm not going to glue them for the moment. I'm just going to sort of place them along the fairway here and cluster them along the edges, and then we would come back and glue these later. So if you were a modeler and you were doing this, you would definitely come back a little bit later on and do your final adjustments. You get everything out of the way here, off of the green. And you can see now that in a matter of seconds we've laid out some foliage. So I'll tilt that up for you a little bit there so you can get a little better angle without, whoop, spilling all the bushes. And let me just get some of these back in here. There we go. I want to get them back in position. All right, and whoop, we don't want to have any bushes growing literally on top of the green. So let's turn it around so you can see what we've got here. There's the cars. All right, what's missing? Well, I can tell you the one thing that's missing that is going to be really totally awesome is the human element. So we've got a bag of people. That's right, a bag of human beings. All right, so let's just spill a couple people onto the fairway there. And how close do we want them to be? Well, generally, you know, you got to keep people off of the fairway. But we'll kind of stick them right at the edge there. So this is more like a community gathering. We've got somebody walking. We've got, oh, look at this guy carrying an attaché case. An attaché case, and he's waving. So obviously not the right placement because he's probably trying to catch a bus. We don't want to have somebody showing up on a fairway distracting the golfer. Let's just go ahead and get a few people in play here, just to kind of give you the idea that we are populating the gallery, as they call it. And the gallery is what they refer to as the crowd. It's generally the environment or the space where people are allowed to gather to get a close-up view of a golf game. You know, when they say during a golf tournament there's a lot of noise in the gallery, that means that people are making a bit of a racket. They need to calm down or they will be removed from the golf club. All right, so what we've done now is we've added a little bit of a gallery there. So let me just bring that closer. Hopefully you can see that. And you can see our gallery and the golfer and our car pile up there on the road where everybody stopped to park their cars. And let's pull off got a little bit of hot glue stuff there. So I think we've done a good job so far. We've got a variety of things going on here. We managed to put in a tree line. We've got the fairway. We've got bushes. We've got 2 sand traps. we've got a nice selection of gallery members, people kind of taking in the view here. So let's do this. Let's add. I've got some furniture pieces here. I've got a little in this plastic box here. I've got a little bench. Here, let's take that bench. Let me just show you. Let me get a close-up of that if I can. So that's the little bench. If you can see it, hopefully I've got it in view there. And let's just put the bench up here. I sound like Bob Ross with the paintings. Let's just put this bench over here. It'll be our little secret. So let's just do that. Let's just take this little bench, and we're just going to park it right up here by the green. So if he manages to hit the bench, there's a very slim possibility that his golf ball, he could hit the golf ball, swing, it could hit the bench, bounce off the bench, and go into the cup. The odds of that happening are extremely slim, and I don't know whether that would be permissible in a golf tournament, but that would remain to be seen. So anyway, we've got a nice little setup here. The only thing that I might want to add is some sand, some gravel. And what you do with this, obviously, is we're going to just sprinkle it. But in a real model train layout or a diorama, if you were setting something like this up, what you would be doing would be spraying an adhesive, an invisible adhesive film, and then you're simply going to take the material and you're going to sprinkle it like so. So you're going to sprinkle it on here. Now I'm kind of messing this fairway up a little bit here, so I don't know if I'm going to do that, but it does make it look more natural when you have some material kind of taking the line between the fairway grass and the mulch or the other material, the ground cover material, and making it look very transitional. So you want to make it very smooth. And even with the, to be honest with you, even with the sand traps, we want to make it look like some guy just tried to hack his way out of there. So we're going to sprinkle a little sand, and you can see, let me just grab this pointer tool. You can see what I've done here. I've just taken a little material and just added it here, here, and I put a little bit over here in this area. So what I've done there, get that little string out of the way, is just giving it more of a natural and more earthy and organic appearance. So there we have it. Look at that. In the span of about 20, I don't know, half an hour or so, we created this amazing diorama. And we've got people. Let me see if I can bring it even closer to you. We've got people visiting and watching in the gallery at this amazing golf tournament. I'm going to spin it 180 degrees this time. So there we go. Nice little project. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I've got a lot more great ideas for interesting videos in the pipeline. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit my channel.